So my name is Trayshawn Leggett, and I'm working with Matthew Hernandez, and today we're going to show you sine, cosine, and tangent, which is also known as SOHCAHTOA. So this SOHCAHTOA works with right triangles. So I'm just going to show you a right triangle and how to label its parts. So first we have one right triangle, and we're going to label the right angle, and then we're going to label the hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is easy to identify because it's always the side that's across from our right angle. So this is the hypotenuse here. Also about the hypotenuse, it's the largest side of the triangle, so each of these sides would be less than the hypotenuse. For this triangle, I'm going to use this angle here, and I'm going to label it as 30. So this way we can find our adjacent and our opposite. Now the opposite is always the side that's across from the angle. So for this triangle in particular, the opposite would be here. And then this would be the adjacent. And I'm going to use sine first, so I'll just go ahead and label the parts of this triangle. I'll use H for the opposite, and then I'll use X for the hypotenuse. And for sine, it is equal to sine, which is the angle. And for angle, we use the theta symbol, which is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And for this particular triangle, it would be the sine of 30 is equal to 8 over x. 8 being the adjacent, x being the hypotenuse that we're trying to identify. When you're working these problems, you want to make sure your calculator is in degree mode. So what you do, you'll hit the mode button, which is beside the second key. Scroll to where you see radian, and if it's in radian mode, just scroll over and hit enter on degree to make sure your calculator is in the correct mode for these type of problems. So you'll hit the sine button, and here what you'll do, you'll multiply by x on both sides, and these x's will cancel, and you'll have x sine of 30 is equal to 8. For these problems, you want to make sure that x is by itself, so you would divide by the sine of 30, and that's going to cancel, and then you divide by the sine of 30 on this side as well. And so you're left with x is equal to 8 divided by the sine of 30. You'll simply type that into your calculator. So 8 divided by sine of 30 is equal to 16. So, like I said, the hypotenuse is the largest side of the triangle. So of course it would be more than 8, which is our opposite. Next, I'll show you cosine. Now to show you different ways that the triangle can be set up, I'll draw the triangle going a different direction. I'll label the right angle. And for this triangle, I'll actually use this angle here, and I'll label it as 35 degrees. And then I'll label my hypotenuse across from the right angle. Now for this triangle, the adjacent is actually here because this is the side beside the angle. And then across from the angle will be our opposite. Now cosine deals with the adjacent, so this time I actually label the hypotenuse. I'll label it as 15, and I'll use x for the adjacent, and then we'll be trying to find the adjacent instead of the hypotenuse. So I'm going to do the cosine of my angle, again the theta symbol, is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And this will be cosine of 35 is equal to x, the adjacent, over 15, the hypotenuse. For this one, we're going to multiply by 15 on both sides. That's going to cancel. We're going to put 15 here. We have 15 times the cosine of 35 is equal to x. And then we'll just type that in the calculator. Hit enter. And you'll see that the adjacent is equal to 12.28, which will be correct because this is less than the largest side of our triangle. And lastly, I'll show you tangent. Now tangent is a little different because it doesn't work with hypotenuse. It's actually opposite over adjacent. So we'll have another right triangle. We'll label it here. And this will be our hypotenuse again. I'll put the angle here, I'll label it as 50. Our adjacent is the side beside the angle. And the angle and the side across from the angle, which will be our opposite. And I'll actually label the opposite as 10, and we'll try to find the adjacent. Now tangent is the tan of the angle equals opposite over adjacent. And we'll have the tan of 50 is equal to 10 over x. Similar to the first problem, we'll multiply by x. That cancels. So we'll have x tan of 50 equals 10. Divide by the tangent of 50 on both sides. That'll cancel. You can do the tangent of 50 over here. And you'll have x is equal to tan of 50. 10 divided by the tan of 50. X is equal to 8.39. That's it.